Angels, you are watching Midnight Movie Talk here on this Sunday Night Spectacular, the big show, the box office extravaganza. And we have a huge topic tonight because we might have the biggest bomb in the history of Hollywood staring us in the face. Now, when we bring in the number here, look at the second weekend nosedive that The Flash just put up, minus 72%. That is one of the largest weekend to weekend debut to second weekend drops we've ever seen in the history of Hollywood. And look at the film right now. When you talk about its overall box office worldwide, it's only at $211 million. That is it. Now, here's how we're going to analyze this and try to figure out as best we can at this point, is it the biggest bomb in the history of Hollywood? Now, if you don't know, when you look at a film and how much money it's going to make or lose, you are going to need to know what the budget is. And generally, reports are all over the place because studios are not going to give you the exact number. A lot of times they're going to lowball it because why? Because they don't want you to know they're about ready to lose $300, $400, $500 million. But it's safe to say this is at least a $200 million film. Let's use that number. Let's go with the absolute lowest number, which I think is low. I think we could go to probably 250, maybe more, with reshoots and everything that happened here. But let's start with 200, okay? Generally, you need to have at least 2.5. I would argue closer to 3 times the budget because you have the advertising money, you have the distribution. Now, in the old days, they had the prints. You had to print those up, right? Send the 35 millimeter print, 70 millimeter print, whatever it was to the theater. Now, it's on a hard drive, right? It's encrypted, all that shit. Saved a lot of money for the studios. Either way, when you look at a $200 million movie, let's multiply that out. That's $600 million. Let's use that as our number. It's at 211. And it's not going up much higher from this. It's not doing well overseas. Certainly not here. Okay? It's under 100 million stateside. I mean, I think a lot of you thought, don't act like I was only one, by the way. I was not the only one who thought this film was going to open at least 100. Given everything that was here, certainly Michael Keaton coming back for my generation, the Gen Xers, like, let's go see Michael Keaton. Didn't happen. This film completely obliterated itself. It's gone, right? It's dead. And we knew it was going to happen. Like, I thought it was going to be minus 70. We're even higher than that. We're almost at 73. So, right now, it has lost Warner Brothers no less than $350 million worldwide. They have lost 300 plus million. This is not going to go much above 250, maybe let's go 275. Does it crawl to 300? Let's just take the best case scenario. It gets to 300 million worldwide. It still is going to lose at least no less than $300 million for Warner Brothers. Are you kidding me? This is as bad as it gets for Warner's. And we talked about this. How many streams have we done about this? Barbie it's not a guarantee, guys. It is not a lock. This film is as far from a lock as possible. Now, I have some information that I may be willing to divulge to you here tonight. But you're going to have to ask me. I'm just going to go ahead and ask for it. You got to super chat me and you got to tell me, ask me the question, what do you know about Barbie? The first person that comes in, I will use it. We'll talk about it soon. Not yet. Hold tight. But Warner Brothers, the last thing that they want to deal with right now is another film that could be in big trouble. We'll talk about that in a few moments. Come in with the super chat. You got it, okay? Is it the worst DCEU film box office wise? When you look at a Batman versus Superman, when you look at the Suicide Squad, the first one, and even the second one, right? Because that was that HBO Max day and date bullshit that Warner's was doing. We're going to have to wait to determine that. But if we're talking about the biggest of all time, let's just bring up some other films that have bombed at the box office. I found this really good article, and I am going to show it to you here. This is from MovieWeb. And we always love to give shout outs to the creators out there that give us the content that we can riff off of, because we're not just going to read this and not paint our own illustration of what we're discussing here tonight. But let's look at some of the ones that we're talking about. Tomorrowland. Remember George Clooney back in 2015? That film bombed. And you're looking at, now the range you're going to see in this article is between 103 and 171. So it's over 100 million. Obviously, The Flash we just talked about could be 300 million lost. So it's more than that. Pan, somewhere between 100 million and 171. By the way, I didn't hate Pan. I remember that film. It was back in, again, 2015. 2 bombs from 2015 right off the bat. And so we're looking at more than that, right? Let's keep going. Mars Needs Moms. Oh my God, what a forgettable film. Remember 2011? Total disaster because of the faces. It was creepy as hell, that film. You're looking at, well, let's say 150 on that loss minimum. Battleship. Oh my God. And by the way, we have 2 films from our good friend here that you see pictured. What was what's his name? Taylor whatever his name is. He has 2 bombs here. Battleship, 177. Let's keep going. Sinbad, Legend of the Seven Seas. I don't even remember this film. Honest to God, I forgot all about this 2003 animated film. I don't think I ever watched it, nor did many other people. Cutthroat Island. Oh my God. There's one of the OG bombs, right? Rennie Harlan, Gina Davis, back in 1995. Keep going. Mortal Engines. Oh my God. I'm one of the 7 people that saw this film. The film that forecasted face masks before any other film. Mortal Engines. Loss of about 200 million for Universal. Let's go to 3. 13th Warrior. Antonio Banderas, 1999. OG bomb. Lone Ranger's way up there, right? 200 plus million. And then you look at the number 1 film. By the way, can we just talk for a moment here? Because we are discussing biggest bombs ever. I actually am a John Carter apologist. I don't hate this film. But when you look at the budget of 350 million, and then you look at the box office, you're looking at somewhere between over 200 million that this film lost. So right now, guys, based on what I just told you, is The Flash the biggest bomb ever? 211 worldwide, budget's 200 million plus, 600 million to be profitable. It's not going to get to half that. That means it's going to lose Warner's $300 million. You tell me, is it the biggest bomb ever? Right now, in the heat of the moment, it's hard to say no to that. Geeky Lawrence, do you think given the box office performance of The Flash, Warner Brothers Discovery will pull Aquaman 2, let's just talk with that because that's next, right? Aquaman 2 is going to be, it needs to be pushed out. It needs to be pushed out of Christmas. And here's why. You already have, with Warner Brothers, you already have Color Purple and Wonka that are sitting there. Why are you going to bring 3 films from the same studio at the same time? They're going to cannibalize. They just will. So I would get Aquaman and I'd just get it out of there. Push it into 2024, bring it out in February, squeeze it in there. I got to look ahead to 2024, but I mean, January is always good, right? We told Marvel to move the Marvels to January, so go ahead, move Aquaman to mid-January. Admit that it's going to suffer a fate similar to The Flash because, again, I still think the number 1 reason that that film is underperforming is that James Gunn said it's not part of the cinematic universe. Now, Ezra Miller is an issue as well, no question, but that is a huge component of the fail here. Oh, yeah, Blue Beetle, of course. You know, it's fun. So funny, when I looked at BB, I'm sitting there going, because Blue Beetle's going to bomb. Blue Beetle is dead. Put the skull emoji and run it all the way through on the characters till 240 on Twitter and just put Blue Beetle and that's it. In fact, that's probably the tweet I should send. Warner Bros. Will hate me, but the truth is I'm right. The film is dead. It's another Shazam. It's another, oh, look at me. I just discovered I'm a superhero. We've seen this movie so many fucking times. I don't want to watch Blue Beetle. I have no interest. And by the way, I said it the other night. I'm going to double down on it now. Don't tell me that I should be excited for Blue Beetle because of representation. No, we don't mind. That's great, but you cannot sell the movie to me based on representation. No, I want a good fucking movie. I don't care what the representation is. We love it. It's great, but that cannot be the reason that I'm going to see your movie. No way. great. Listen, I saw a film this weekend that I liked a lot, The Blackening. But guess what? It's not just about the fact that it's representation in a horror film and it's very much of a scary movie, but it also has a lot of things that I liked about it that are more than that. And I'm going to discuss it in a few minutes with the evaluation. But that has more than that. Blue Beetle you can't just sell this movie to me on, oh, it's representation. So what? Great, fantastic. You got to still give me a good movie and I want to see it. You can't just tell me representation, go support it. Not going to work. The box office does not work like that. We've seen it happen so many times when Hollywood tries to shove something down your throat. And you're like, listen, I want to see a good movie. Don't tell me about representation. It's fine. It's cool. It's great. We're all for it. But don't you dare tell me that's why I need to see the movie. That is being your nana. Listen, I need you to go see this movie because it's the right thing to do. Go out and virtue signal and go see Blue Beetle. That'll be a no. I'll see it because we're going to talk about it. But the average person, if you lecture them, you need to go see Blue Beetle because it's about representation. People are going to go, fuck you. Don't tell me what to do. I'll see it if I want to see it. Is it good? That's all I want to know. Yes, it's the first Latino-led superhero movie. Fantastic, great. Don't tell me that's why I should see it, though. I'll see it because the movie's good. I'm so tired of this world, right, doing that shit. And by the way, not anti-woke. Weber's anti-woke. I want to watch good films. Merit. Jimmy can't. I disagree. Aquaman 2 is going to do well internationally. Remember, the first one opened only 67, just like Black Adam, and then, yes, it performed well. Okay. First of all, I am not a huge Aquaman fan because that film is two films duct taped together. It's so absolutely exhausting, the back end of Aquaman. I wish that was Aquaman 1 and 2 because I believe we're looking at Aquaman 3 given how long that movie was. Aquaman is going to be in trouble because of what we just saw with The Flash. It's got the stink of The Flash on it. And when Blue Beetle crashes, it's going to have that on it. James Gunn is definitely not as thrilled as he was just a few weeks ago. I mean, he could have foreseen that this film was not going to do the numbers that he hoped, right? He might have said it's going to come under what we expect, the expectation, but it's not going to be the biggest bomb ever, possibly. So this is right now, James Gunn you don't want to talk to that guy. Like, you don't want to bring him on a podcast. You don't want to talk, don't interview that guy because he is not in the right frame of mind because he's looking at Blue Beetle and then Aquaman. It's not a good place. A couple more comments and let's roll off into Spider-Verse because it is back at number 1. Kusma, you need a very unique director, unique voice to make something like Blue Beetle different. Otherwise, it's been done to death. Bingo, star comment. And we're not going to get that. Look at it. It looks like every other iteration of, look at me, I'm a superhero, I'm learning how to fly. Bullshit that we've been through how many times. It's exhausting. I am not excited for the film, and I'm not afraid to say that. And again, I'm going to stress for the 99th time during the stream, don't tell me I need to support it for representation. I'll support it because it's good. We are never going to support a film because the director is a woman. We're going to support our MMT must-see because it's a great film that happens to be directed by a woman. I'll tell you what that is coming up here tonight. Let's go back to Spider-Verse. It's back at number 1. Slings its way back to the top with another really strong hold. This is a film that is over $500 million worldwide. And you're telling me, if anyone wants to come in here and say, well, the box office isn't back to what it was, 500 plus million for Spider-Verse right now, and it's still going, okay? This film is not done, as we saw this past weekend. $560 million worldwide for Across the Spider-Verse. And the hold again this weekend was minus 30, minus 28.5. Look at this. This is holding in there. And let me tell you, here's why you watch Midnight Movie Talks. We're going to tell you why not only it held that way, because obviously word of mouth is like insane on this film, and it should be. It also reclaimed Dolby and Prime at AMC. The Regal folks out there, you tell me, was it at 4DX? Was it at RPX? Did they slide it back in there? Because now that it's back at number 1, you can justify it going back into Dolby. I brought this up on Twitter the other day. IMAX has too much power and too much say on what's on the screen. And theater owners got screwed this past weekend by The Flash being exclusive in IMAX. I went to see The Blackening. We're going to talk about the movie in just a few minutes, okay? The evaluation's coming up in a moment. But when I came out of the movie, I said, let me walk into the Dolby and I want to watch a few minutes of Spider-Verse again. Listen, there were plenty of seats. I walked in and watched for about 5 minutes. I'm probably going to go see it again tomorrow because it's at Dolby. And we can all agree, and hopefully you've seen Spider-Verse 2 by now. We can all agree that it is a work of art. Okay, that's the difference between that film and virtually any other superhero movie, is the artistry on display. I would argue Matt Reeves, the Batman, is way up there on the artistic value. But this film is next level. When I came out of Spider-Verse 2, what did I compare it to? I compared it to the Bowie film, right? Moon Age Daydream. When you look at those two films, they're both just loud works of art. And that's why I was so thrilled to watch it again on Dolby. There is, for those of you who've never experienced a movie in Dolby, Dolby's better than Prime. Okay, so I'm just going to focus on Dolby and IMAX, but I'm going to really zoom in here because I love Dolby Burbank. It is one of, if not the best screen in the entire city of Los Angeles. I've been to every single one, every screening room, every studio. I know what's good and what's bad and everywhere in between. I can rank them all here tonight with like 100 screens. Dolby Burbank is the best screen, period. It is a massive screen. You've got the recliners and the sound. When I'm sitting in Spider-Verse, I'm like, oh my God, this film absolutely, God, it's kind of cliche at this point, but it slaps hard in Dolby. It's worth every penny when you watch that film in Dolby. Dare I ask, what's the word on Barbie? Seen Oppenheimer 70 millimeter IMAX Friday and Barbie Saturday when it comes out, right, Shane? Okay, fine. Because we're here, I'm going to take a pause on box office, and I'm going to tell you what I know about Barbie. Warner Brothers is not going to be happy with what I'm about to say. So be it. Because I'm going to be honest with you guys, because I always am. Warner Brothers, for whatever reason, with my relationship with the studio, they have not been very helpful. It's always like pulling teeth with Warner Brothers. The other studios, like if I send an email to, and I'm not just saying this, by the way, this is not about clout. I'm just telling you guys the situation. If I send an email to Neon, A24, Focus, Sony, Universal, Disney, I'm going to get a reply within, I would say, an hour. Okay, within an hour. And with Warner Brothers, for whatever reason, it's always like it's more of an issue. It's like, well, here's this person. Now you got to talk to this person. I'm like, okay, can you just let me see the film like they showed it to people this weekend? Uh-oh. Because here's the thing, is that I can bring you value. If you let me see your film early enough, I'm going to tell you how to make it better. Every single time. Going from the films I just saw this past few days, go back to The Blackening. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. I'll tell you how to make it better. And then you go back, look at No Hard Feelings. Oh my God. I don't know how you fix it and make it better, stronger. First of all, you got to fire the director, but we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But Warner Brothers, if you would have let me see Barbie, now I understand it's coming out here in a few weeks, but trust me on this. If I watch this film, I'm going to be able to tell you, watch out. You need to change this, and this. You don't have to, but I'm just going to tell you, here's how it's going to play out. And we all talked about some of the things in the film. Go back and watch the streams that are over the past week, 2 weeks. We're going to talk more about this film as it goes. But what I am hearing out of the screenings from Barbie is that the film is not a family film. And if that is the truth, and that is verified when I get to see the film, whenever that is, probably opening night at this point, I'm just going to lay it out there tonight. If it's not a family film, like I'm not talking about like sort of a family film. I'm talking like it's not going to work for families. Watch out, Warner Brothers. That's all I'm telling you. And I know Warner Brothers doesn't want to hear this, but this is what I'm going to bring to the table. You bring me into that screening 3 weeks ago, the test screenings you ran over a month ago, and you let me see it. I'm going to tell you, you got to do A, B, and C. And here's the thing. I have a track record. I'm right a lot. Okay, it's all I'm going to say, a lot. I think that's the value I bring to the space. You guys watch the stream for one reason, obviously, to get my insight on this stuff. If I was on here spitting a bunch of crap that made no sense and it wasn't facts, you guys would be like, this guy is ridiculous. I'm not watching this. And some would argue I am, but the one thing no one ever says, I'm wrong. They argue bullshit, but they never go, you're wrong, because I'm right. And I'm telling you, if Barbie is not a family film, like I'm talking at all, watch out. This is a classic Film Twitter film. I'm telling you guys, it is the kind of film that Film Twitter goes, oh, it's going to be the biggest film ever. And then boom, look what happened with The Flash. And this could be more polarizing. Watch out. Thank you for the super chat, Sham. You did it. I offered it and you guys brought it. And then I gave you the insight that I was, probably shouldn't have, but it's fine. It's what we do here. I'm at the point now, guys. And by the way, here it is, Spider-Verse almost 500. Well, 500. No, excuse me. It's over that. I got to fix that. It's 560. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about Elemental in just a second. I'm at the point now where if I am going to be handcuffed by the studios, if they're going to say, if you talk about something earlier, whatever, we're not going to invite you, then here's what's going to happen. I'm not going to go to the press screenings anymore, and I'll see them on Thursday night, because here's the reality. I am not going to stop telling you what I believe to be the facts on a situation objectively, okay, without an agenda. And trust me, guys, you guys know this. You watch the channel. I do not have an agenda. My agenda is give me a great film, period. End discussion. I don't care. Going back to Blue Beetle, I don't care about representation. Yes, it's great, but that's not why I'm going to see the film. I want to see a great film. And there's nothing more to add, not a single word. Okay. So if they're going to put it part and parcel, right? Like we talked about the shills. Okay. If you have a shill to investigate tonight, hit me. I had a few I was thinking about, but it's kind of one of those things. I'm like, I really want to make sure that when we do this, we're going to go hard. So I got to be right. Okay. And I've been right. So I don't want to move off that. But listen, to be unvarnished, to be authentic, to be real about this stuff, you're going to have to lose some access. I mean, do you think Netflix is inviting me to another event? No. And the thing is I don't really want to go to another Netflix event because it's going to be awkward, because I've literally trashed them how many times? They have to get theatrical. They still haven't. So I have nothing really to even want to see from them, other than Fincher's movie, of course. Renee, Barbie's PG-13. There's tons of innuendos in the previews. We know it's marketed towards families. Here's the deal. I'm being told that what you're being presented is not the film. So, if that is the reality, and I have not confirmed it myself, but I trust my sources. If what the trailer is selling is not the movie, that is typically one of the biggest issues for a film. Because people, when they watch the trailer, they want that for the movie. And when it's not, that's where you get a cinema score that's low. And we always talk about cinema score, and a lot of you are like, stop, no one cares about cinema score. It indicates word of mouth. That's all that is. So if the low cinema score, that means the word of mouth is not great. So watch out. I want to like Barbie. I love both Greta and Noah as writers, as people that are going to give us something interesting, but I'm not talking about a movie for me. When you bring in a property like Barbie and you don't make it universally accessible, and I haven't confirmed it, but let's just pretend that that's the case, what's going to happen? I can tell you, audiences are going to revolt. So watch out, Barbie. Warner Brothers this is gonna go flying all over Warner Brothers tomorrow. Someone's gonna cut it and go, here it is, and Weber's here again. Warner Brothers, use me as an ally. I want to make films better. It's what we're doing, man. It's not about seeing it early for no reason. I want to watch the film and say, oh, dude, let's just talk for a moment about No Hard Feelings. Kuzma, I wonder how much WB spent on marketing for Barbie. Oh my God, a lot. Let's go and let's talk about No Hard Feelings. Okay, I'm going to go back to Elemental. We got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. There's a lot of box office that we can spin off into other things. No Hard Feelings, decent debut, $15 million. Okay, let's go back and let's look at, for those of you who now have seen the film, No Hard Feelings, Jennifer Lawrence. Ronchcom, right? A version of My Tutor, of Can't Buy Me Love. Only these films are better. My Tutor's better. Oh my God. Okay, but here's the thing: is when I watch that film, the first thing that I notice is you got to get a new editor in here and clean this up and tighten it up. You've got to cut 5 minutes. And here's the thing: it's not even about the 5 minutes cut. It's not even like scenes. It's literally about timing. When you are cutting a comedy film, here we go. I didn't want to do this. We did a whole stream about it. I'm going to make it tight. I'm going to make it to the point. When you're cutting a comedy film, you have to nail your edits. You cannot let things lag. You cannot let things linger. When you do, you destroy the film and the possibility of the laughs. And when you watch No Hard Feelings, the director here, don't even remember his name, don't care, is so untalented at making good comedy film that he actively makes the film worse by not having the timing skills needed to edit his film. Everyone else is like, No Hard Feelings is fun. It's Jennifer Lawrence. No one's talking about the fact the direction is shit. It is average, and that's being kind. It's not elevated. It's not elite direction. And you're going to say, it's just a stupid rom-com. Doesn't matter. You still need elite direction on a rom-com, and we don't have that. We have hack directors like dude who directed No Hard Feelings actively shitting his film up. There you go. Use that. What is that? You're officially shitting your film up. Greasy Guido, No Hard Feeling was badly edited, but the movie overall was charming, fun, and professionally raunchy or over. Nope, I'm not. Greasy Guido, it's not the tech. I'm not saying the cinematography. I'm talking about the feel, right? The feel of something. Here's the thing. Okay, let's pretend that we go back and we do Midnight Movie Talk. The whole stream, we go back and we bring everything in at 1/2 speed. As you guys know, I go fast. I like bang, 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 bang. Imagine if you watch this at one. I'm like, hey guys, so tonight we're going to talk about The Flash. But every word I said is exactly what I said up to this point. You would be like, this isn't good. And that's the problem with No Hard Feelings. It doesn't have the finesse and the calibration that you need for a film like that, and it goes to the talent that is lacking from the director. You got to, Greasy Guido, you got to listen to me. You got to be harder on these films. We are not just here to pass along. It's just a comedy. It's just, so what? Make it better. And I'm going to also address this before we move on. For everybody that was like, okay, so I sent a tweet out that said, Jennifer Lawrence, what are you doing on the beach, naked, suplexing teenagers in the sand? Okay, so everyone's like, oh, you're telling a guy telling a woman that she can't go naked. First of all, Jennifer Lawrence, okay, did you all maybe get a sneak peek of the pictures that leaked a few years ago? Like, it's been almost 10 years now. Oh my God. Okay. No one is ever going to accuse Jennifer Lawrence of having a body that, isn't the worst thing to show. What you're missing when I say that is when you watch the movie, it is cringe. It is embarrassing. It is beneath her. Even in a rom-com, it's beneath her. Would Jodie Foster have suplex teenagers naked on a beach? Don't say foxes. Don't come in here with that shit. She wouldn't have. Jennifer Lawrence has an Oscar. That's the point. Don't give me this shit. Twitter sucks, especially a ton. I'm not gonna say every, because that's not fair. I love Rachel Reviews. She's very smart and she's fair. I like Rachel. But there's a lot of female film critics in the space that do shit like that. Oh, another man telling you that women can't get naked. What the no! Watch the movie. It's embarrassing. It's a terrible decision by Jennifer Lawrence. And I'm telling you, years from now, she's going to go, what the hell was I thinking? In fact, she's probably thinking this weekend. Oh my God. I made that scene. Wow. That was dumb. Yeah, she will. She will. Okay. Jimmy Can't. I just watched the film. It's fun. It's not funny enough. 100%. It's not Lawrence. It's not the kid. Kid's great. The film is not funny enough. And that is the issue. Okay, I'm going to come back to more box office in a minute. I want to roll into it because I've teased it, and it's time to do it because we just talked comedy. Here's a much better comedy. In fact, if you have an opportunity to go to the theater this week, because it's going to be gone soon, but nowadays it'll probably be on streaming like next weekend, go see The Blackening. It is far superior as a comedy and so much more fun and well done than No Hard Feelings. And when you look at this film and what works, we like to give you the three big takeaways from this. Number one, the thing that I was not expecting from The Blackening is the fact that the horror elements work. What does that mean? It is a scary movie. It's a goof comedy film, right? So it's got that joke, not true horror. But credit to the director. I don't have it in front of me here. I'll pull it up. He's very good at still injecting a level of menace that's just lingering. It's right here, and it's enough that you feel that you still are invested. You're not just like, the stakes don't matter. So credit to keeping at least some sense of menace in the film. Two, legit laughs. There are a lot of great jokes in this film. The characters are strong. I had a blast watching the ensemble of The Blackening. And let me pull it up because I want to show you some of the actors. I've never seen a lot of the people in this film, and they're all very talented and they work very well together. And I'm telling you, I am really surprised at how much I like this film. Okay, here it is. So let's roll in. Let me pull it up and hit view tab. Here we go, guys. Here we come, The Blackening. Okay, so the director of this film is Tim Story. I'm not familiar. Is this his first feature? But what Tim possesses is very strong instincts as a director. And you see it when you watch The Blackening. First of all, the one instinct that he has, my God, Fantastic Four and two, he's done a lot of films. But what I see in this film is his ability. My God, he did Barbershop. This guy's been around. I didn't even know that he had done this many films. But here's the deal. This is kind of the beauty of what we do. I don't need to know, truthfully, who the director is. In fact, I'd rather not know. So when I watch it, I go, hey, this person knows how to deliver this kind of film. And that's what the key is here. But when you look at the ensemble, they work well together. There's funny stuff. Two of the actors that really stand out for me, and let me make sure I get them right. Dwayne Perkins. This guy is great. Okay, Dwayne Perkins rocks. Do you guys see I drink C4? There's the ad for C4. Too many energy drinks. Can you tell? Dwayne Perkins is very funny. Okay, he's great. And the other dude who's fantastic is it Jermaine Fowler. Jermaine Fowler's playing this like Urkel character. This dude is hilarious. You need to go see The Blackening because also here's the issue with The Blackening, and this is the one thing that I would definitely do. And it's only an hour and 37 minutes. But the problem is the premise is thin. Okay, it's a group of friends from college. They get together in a house. They stumble across a board game called The Blackening, which is funny. Okay, because the game is super racist, right? There's like this black-faced thing in the middle, and they're all like going, oh my God, that's racist. It's very funny, that whole thing. But the problem is they're playing the board game, and then the killers come, and they're playing a game, right? Like a Saw kind of thing. And then they get out of the house, and they all go their separate ways to try and survive. The film needs to be screwed in more. It needs to be compacted and just literally like, it's kind of like putting an IKEA set together. You grab the little, what's it called? The Allen wrench. What's the little knob deal? That thing, and you crank on it, right? It needs to be just brought in like another couple cranks on that to make sure the bed doesn't come apart. It's a thin premise. It needs to be a little bit tighter. And I would even argue maybe at a 125 runtime instead of 137. But at the end of the day, it's an 80% for me. That's very good. It's a B. And again, fun and so much better than, guys, so much better than No Hard Feelings. Is not even a contest. So go see The Blackening. Blackening's about 10 years too late to be really relevant. Lots of laughs, social commentary, fails at horror, even through. Listen, Felicity, I disagree. Was I scared? No, but I still was into the stakes. I believed we're trying to figure out why are these people being targeted. And in the process of that, I wasn't ever like, I don't care. And that means that for me, at least the horror and the stakes are there. Because if they're not, then it is a total goof film. You're like, okay, enough. I disagree. I think the film works. Do I think it's great? No, but it's much better film than No Hard Feelings. Okay, much better. No, Mega YouTube. I couldn't agree. And don't even get me started on Past Lives again. And I talked to someone else I respect, and guess what they said. When I heard this about Past Lives, and I know a lot of you saw it this weekend. We'll talk about it. Come in with the super chat. We'll do it. I'm going to say it quickly. Past Lives suffers immeasurably by the lack of connectivity to the lead actress. She does not have the empathy needed, that she needs to display that for me to fully buy into the character. At the end, when she starts crying, it's almost like the director yelled, "Cry!" She's like, "Oh, God!" I'm like, what the hell? Past Lives will be one of the most overrated films of 2023 for me, without question. Not Beau is Afraid, because that's not even overrated. You guys know that film sucks. So this film, though, Past Lives, I'm being told by everybody, it's so great. The problem is the lead is not empathetic. For you, the audience, you don't care about her. And that listen, we talk about this all the time. Go back, and by the way, no one else, and please give me a like for this, because this is what we do better than anybody else. No one else on YouTube for sure is able to do what I'm about ready to do. And trust me, it's going to work. The problem with Past Lives is the same problem that we had with the Florida Project. You know what the problem with that film is? And by the way, it's right over my shoulder. Do you see? It's right there. You see it? The Florida Project is not as great as it could have been because the lead actress, I'm forgetting her name, she's gone on, she's done some things. She is not empathy. You do not empathize with her enough. She does not show a sweet side to her. She comes off as a bitchy little kid. That's the reality. Watch the Florida Project. There is no modulation to her performance. And it's a good performance, but it's a one-note bitchy. You need to show like you're obviously she's sarcastic. She's dealing with a mom who's a drug addict. I get it. She's living in a hotel in Orlando. I get all that. And it's her first film, Brooklyn Prince. When you look, by the way, I didn't see the comments. I literally just pulled that somehow in the recesses of my mind. When you watch the film, you need an actress who is able to imbue a level of just emotionally, you have to be able to connect with her, and that's the problem with the Florida Project. It's the same problem, by the way, give me a like because I nailed it, with Past Lives, and I'm 100% right. I know that I'm 100% correct on that. Watch Past Lives. You tell me at the end, when she starts crying, you go, what did the director yell cry? Because that's what it feels like. It is not earned. The emotional stakes of that film are not there, and that's the film. So how the hell is Past Lives the greatest movie ever? Don't get me. You know where I'm going to go. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to hold myself back, but I'm telling you, I'm done playing that shit. I'm not going to do this anymore where I'm going to say a movie's good because of representation, because of what they look. They're human beings. I'm not doing it anymore, guys. It's never going to happen. I'm never going to play that game. And screw you if you try to tell me to play that game. I'm going to play the merit game. I'm going to tell you that the person is the person. We all have the same shit we deal with, no matter what the color of our skin is, no matter where we grew up, no matter what it is. We all ultimately have to get through the day. Okay? Yes, we all have our own trials and tribulations, but I'm so tired of being told that we have to do this. No. We are human beings, and we're going to evaluate each other as such. We're not going to give people more or less because of the color of their skin or where they grew up or whatever. It's not happening. So don't tell me that the movie's better because of that. I don't want to hear that shit. I'm done. I'm not doing this shit anymore. It's not going to happen. Okay? And that's not anti-woke. That's called being on the right side of how you evaluate and how you give merit. You deliver merit in this world. You do not deliver quotas and agendas. You deliver merit. End of discussion. We're not going to ever discuss that again on the channel. It's over. Kuzma, quickly on Florida Project. You have to cede to me that Brooklyn Prince is a one-note young actress. It's her first performances. I'm not suggesting it's her fault. The thing is, when you watch a film, there was recently a film I just watched with a young performance that was amazing. And it's going to take me a minute to think of it. And when I do, it's going to pop in and I'm going to bring it. But when I watch that film, I go, that is really layered. It's nuanced. And this is a kid that can do all of the things. I think the longer you do anything in this world, and acting for sure, the more tools you have in your toolbox. So Brooklyn Prince, she walks into Florida Project. They discovered her in a Target, for God's sake. And so she doesn't have the background and the training, even as a young actress. Let's also say this. Can we just admit this too, guys, since we're on the whole merit thing? Some people in life are more gifted than you at certain things. Give me a like if you agree with that. Now, I know we're told everyone's the same. Everyone has this. No, wrong. Incorrect. 100% incorrect. There are plenty of people in this world that are better at certain other things than they are, and that's just how it goes. There is something called natural talent, and you can work on it, but you have to possess it. And I go back to sports. If you at a base level don't have an athleticism to you, and there's a lot of people that don't, let's just face it, it's just the reality of it. I'm sorry, guys. Sorry to tell you, you're not perfect at everything, and that includes me. Okay, guys, I'm not saying that. My point is you have gifts that are unique to you. Not everybody possesses those. So when I watch a young actress or anybody, an actress, a director, some people are just better and they prove it. And great example, go back to No Hard Feelings. That director is not talented. That director is very average. I don't see anything out of that I go, this is great. This is interesting. Because you know what they also are missing? And this is very important. This is something you definitely can't teach. Feel. You have to feel it. Okay. A lot of times on the show, I think I work a lot of times. I mean, this is a high wire act, guys. Okay. You look at all the people that do that, say a line, cut, edit, say a line, cut, edit. That is a performance that is not usually authentic because obviously you're cutting and pasting, you're editing, it's not live. This show, every time that we hit the live button, hello, live, it's a high wire act. So you have to be able to feel like when things are working or when they're not. And sometimes I'm not right about that. But in general, you should be able to ascertain when things are working or not. And right now I can tell this is already too long for this. I felt it. No, you couldn't mega YouTube. I appreciate the super chat, but I can't even honestly even go here. After Sun is 1,000 times the film that Past Lives is. In fact, if they were in a boxing ring, it would be a one punch knockout and it's over. Like, you need to take Past Lives and drag it the hell out of the ring because it just literally got its nose broken and I believe its orbital bone destroyed as well. The whole thing's gone. Get it out of here. After Sun is light years better than Past Lives. It's not even a contest. It's not even in the same class. It's in fact not even. No, we're not doing that. Thank you for the super chat though. Dan, character development in Past Lives. Thank you. Dan, welcome to the channel. Please come here more often for these kind of comments. 1,000,000% this. You do not care about the characters. The one character who comes off the best is the guy who's back in Korea, right? So he comes off much more empathetic, and I think just he's there, he's present, and he builds his character where you have some sense of empathy for him. She doesn't. And what's his name from First Cow? He is fine, but his character's like almost to your point, Dan. There's very little character development. Past Lives, I don't want to talk about it anymore tonight unless you come with a super chat, but I can't do it. I'll do it at the end of the show. I can't do it anymore. I'm going to state one more time because I know I'm right. Past Lives will be the most overrated film of 2023. I can't think of anything because I'm being told it's a classic. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. You guys, thank you, Dan, by the way. Joel came back from Asteroid City tonight, but the end. Okay, thank you, Joel. Well, let's go to it because this is this is perfect. I love when the comments kind of seg into the next thing. Great job, Dan. Asteroid City lands strong expansion. Bring up the comment if you can one more time from Dan. Thank you, Producer Nate, by the way. Everyone, give Producer Nate a thumbs up right now. Boom, give it one. He's rocking and rolling. The show's growing. The show is becoming, I think, something that's really, we're building the community here. We talked about that from the beginning, and I want to really shout out to Producer Nate because it's hard. As you guys know, this is live. It is, as I just said, a high wire act. When I'm popping in and out of all these things, it's not easy to do. And to have a producer who has my back and is shoving in comments, placing them in there at the right time. And if you're giving me a super chat, by the way, I'll get to it at the end of the show. On Sunday night, I don't mind going a little bit longer. That's our kind of our flagship show. But it's hard to, when we're talking about Asteroid City or box office, it's hard to all of a sudden get a super chat that says, who's your top 3 directors? I want to answer that. It's something great. I want to talk about that, but it's just, just flows. We got to keep that kind of going. But again, thank you for everyone being here. Huge thumbs up for you guys. Came back from Asteroid City tonight. The good ending fizzled out for me. Look at the ending. I mean, I think, for those of you who got a chance to see it, because I saw it now almost 3 weeks ago, I think it's one of Wes Anderson's best films. Okay. Now, the ending I get. Here's the thing about Wes Anderson. You guys know when you watch a film, you're not going to get that emotional impact that you want out of the film. It's never going to happen. He's a quirky guy. His films are eccentric as hell. And when you get that combination, you're not going to get the emotional impact that you are from an After Sun, not Past Lives, After Sun. Okay. So you're not going to get that. You're going to get a really technically on point film. His tracking shots, right? The way he has progressed, you go back and look at Grand Budapest. I think that's where you really started to see that, and go look at French Dispatch, just doing the live action. Then going to, obviously, Asteroid City. He is so proficient at that tracking shot, cut. The technical proficiency of Wes Anderson is unquestioned. You can't even put that out there as a criticism. That's never going to be part of it, right? That's a technical wow. Technical elite status for him. The problem with his screenplays are the characters. Again, it's eccentric, they're quirky, and you're not going to emotionally connect to it. So I understand what you're saying about the ending. For me, it's about a piece of art. Wes Anderson films are art, not the same kind of art as Spider-Verse, but I would argue both of them are very high in the artistic value. Now, Spider-Verse has more emotion attached to it than Asteroid City, but they're both things that I would show at an art museum, right? Contemporary art. Here we go. This is an example of two different films that kick ass when it comes to this sensory experience of watching. Now, again, you're just not going to get that. You're not going to get that, come out of it and go, oh, well, that just changed my life. Like After Sun. Let's just quickly talk about After Sun because, we're talking about emotional impact. Anyone who has seen After Sun, and this is going to be hard for some of you that are younger, but anyone that has children, anyone that has a very good relationship, or even in this case, as we know with After Sun, a troubled relationship with one, if not both, of your parents. The end of that film is, and it's rare that we get this, it's symphonic perfection. And I go back and I look at, and they're both A24 films. When you look at the conclusion of a film, and when you just feel that you just have been absolutely gut punched and spiritually uplifted by the film, you look at After Sun when he's sending her off on the plane and you've got her in the spin. That, I'm going to say this as nicely as I can, and this is at Mega YouTube and whoever else, if you don't recognize that you have just sat through a level of a finish that is at a masterpiece emotional level, then you are not doing this right. Like you need to get your emotions in check. There's no way in hell that you can't be destroyed by the end of that film. We're led to believe that obviously he's no longer around, and she's waking up in the middle of the night remembering this trip. I'm going to start crying, guys. I'm not even kidding you. After Sun is devastating. Absolutely devastating, and that speaks to Charlotte Wells' talent as a director. It is so far above the director of something like No Hard Feelings that should never work again. Even comparing them, even calling them both directors is sacrilege to me, because it's a... I can't do it. I'm not going to say another thing about No Hard Feelings. I don't want to talk about it again. But the other film that we're talking about from, and I'll get to this in a second, John. Give me 1 second. When you look at After Sun, watch the finish of Ghost Story. When you watch a Ghost Story and you see what Lowry does at the end of that film, where he's reaching in to get the letter, right? He's trying to figure out what was on that note, and the build and that track. That is one of my favorite pieces of score ever composed. I love, it's called Safe, Safe, Safe. And it is, I still to this day will put that on in the car, Safe, Safe, Safe from A Ghost Story. And I'm not exaggerating. I will start in the middle of that song. I will start to tear up because it is symphonic perfection. The end of A Ghost Story and the end of After Sun. You cannot do the conclusion of a film any better than those two A24 films. Bang! Nobody else on YouTube's ever done. Please know what we're doing here can't be replicated, because the reality is that sorry, because here's the thing. I talked about feel. I know when the show works and when sometimes it doesn't. And trust me, it doesn't work all the time. But I know when I'm bringing the authenticity and what my reality of this, my experience with this, and also being able to ascertain what works and what doesn't. Not everybody has that. I'm just going to say this, and we talked about it earlier. Some people have unique skills. I, for whatever reason, have a skill to identify when we go to that pinging the top of the meter chart. It's that simple. Not everybody does. They're going to go watch No Hard Feelings and go, it's fine. And I'm not, if you think it's fine, it's fine. But you need to, one more time, John, what about I had a rough year dad line from Royal Tenenbaums? Yes, there are, don't get me wrong, there are moments. We can't say Wes Anderson never delivers, but I think it's fair to say, John, that as a whole, you're not going to a Wes Anderson film to be emotionally shattered like you were from After Sun, like you were from A Ghost Story: The End. I know a lot of you have a problem with the pie eating scene. I would agree it's a little excessive, but remember, she's dealing with grief, and Lowry said, let's just have her eat the whole pie and let's make it uncomfortable for you, the audience. I like the choice. I'm not saying it works perfectly. I know how you have a problem with it, but I'm telling you, if you haven't watched A Ghost Story, that's your homework tonight, along with another film we're going to talk about in a minute. Watch the end. Watch when you start hearing safe, safe, safe come in. And if I play it, I'll get a copyright strike. It starts, it's an electronic track, and it's like, as soon as you hear that, from that moment, the first note to the end of the film, and it's like, and he disappears. I was in the theater, and this doesn't happen often. I remember watching that. I was down in Orange County watching that film. This was before I moved up to LA, and I was sitting there in this really small theater. It was like 2 people in there. It was like on a Thursday afternoon because I'd heard some things about Ghost Story. It was at like a theater that nobody goes to see art house films in, and I sat there and I literally felt like a spiritual overtaking of my body. And just my soul was like, you just watched something that is not easily replicated. And that's where we see these directors going to spaces and places that most people can't go. And that's why we identify a David Lowery, we identify a Charlotte Wells. And I'll get into it right now because we have a few more things to talk about here tonight. But our must-see is Saint Maud. I've talked about this film so much, and if you have not seen Rose Glass's debut film, you have to. And I mean, I can't put this any more urgently than this. You must prioritize sitting down with this 85-minute directorial debut that I would argue is a masterpiece, especially as a debut. She has an eye. She has a feel. She knows how to tell her story to build the tension that you need from the character in St. I don't want to go into what the film is. I want you just to watch if you haven't. I know it's an A24 film. I know it's not like some underdog. I've never heard of this little known St. Maud, but it's also not some 4-quad blockbuster that we're talking about. If you haven't watched St. Maud, watch it. And what you're going to see is a directorial talent in Rose Glass that is unique and you cannot replicate. And that's what we're looking for out of our directors. And I'm sorry if I'm asking too much that I want to see a Lowry, I want to see a Wells, I want to see a Rose Glass. And what do they all have in common, guys? Help me out in the comments. What do they all have in common? What distributor? A24. There's one thing that A24 always nails. It is direction. It doesn't even matter if the film is something that you don't or you can't access. Look at Past Lives. From a technical and the visual beauty of that film, it is on point. The problem with St. Maud lies in the accessibility of the screenplay and the character development and that. But when you talk about the directorial vision and the tech and the look and the feel, you're always, and I mean always, going to get something special from A24 and all 3 of the films I just mentioned, St. Maud, After Sun, and A Ghost Story, all A24 films. Good Time, Safdie Brothers. On and on. Dude, we could go on and on and on. Whenever a director works with A24, they're going to give you something that is next level, and that is A24's number one skill, is the identification of directors who kick ass. Look at Zola. Remember that film? That film is made infinitely stronger by the directorial talent that is involved. These things are always going to be there for an A24 film. Always. All right, a few more minutes. We're going to roll out of here. We almost come up on an hour. Let's go a little bit past. Let's do whatever, let me do two quick things, then we'll get on, because this could be something you want to discuss. Let's talk about Elemental quickly. Elemental held up this past weekend at like minus, was it 20? What was the number? Let me look. It was really strong. And the thing is here's how it benefited. Elemental stayed up there at up levels. It dropped at a level that upheld back in 2009. Here's why. It's not because Elemental's great, because trust me, anyone who says Pixar, one of the best films, anyone who says that Elemental is one of Pixar's best films, whoa, watch out. Like, literally take a couple steps back and maybe like sneak out the back, right? Just like I'm just going to go do the Grandpa Simpson, walk in, put your hat down, I'm out of here. Because if they say Elemental is one of Pixar's best films, you need to run from that person's evaluations in perpetuity. Leave it. Don't ever come back. You need to never return, because that film is by far one of Pixar's most mid/worst. Remember, we did the night. Go back and look at the stream. Look at all the Pixar films that we had from the beginning. We listed them all off. Toy Story, obviously Up. Look at, what's it called? The one with the emotions. My God. Yeah, that one. I literally just forgot. I don't have it in front of me. When you look at all of the Pixar films, and Inside Out, when you look at all of them, by the way, thank you, live. Okay, we're not going back in to edit that. It is what it is. I'm pulling all this shit out of my ass. That didn't come out right. Here's the deal, is that it's not one of Pixar's best films. Like, don't do that. If you are doing that, and we already called out our show from last week, Neglia, for doing that. Dude, you're going to tell me Elemental, and I listed like 15 movies that are in front of it. You're going to tell me it's up in that top. There's no way in hell it's up. Elemental is completely forgettable, and one of the reasons it is because of the voice talents. The voice talents, they tried to, and again, we talked about this. It's merit. It's not about, we tried to get non-gender. I don't care. I want the best voice. I don't care if they're non-gender. What are we doing? That makes no sense. Would you guys watch sports if they said, you know what? Instead of the best quarterback, let's have a non-binary quarterback. What? No. So why are we doing that anywhere else? You know why? Come on, bring it. You can't answer that question, because you know it's fucked. You know that it's totally 100% fucked up to say, let's bring in a non-binary voice for representation. Wait a second. Why don't we do that in sports? Get rid of the wide receivers. He's the fastest guy out there. I don't care. I want a non-binary wide receiver. He sucked. I'm sorry. They suck. But we need a non-binary. What? You guys know I'm right. No one can ever go for it. Bring it. Come on. Anyone else go? Anyone, bring it. You can't. You never be able to beat that. It's the put for representation. Shut up. Stop doing that. Stop virtue signaling. Stop. Virtue signaling is the most unattractive of traits. It is literally the biggest turnoff to anybody. And anybody who thinks that it's attractive, trust me when I say this, people are looking at you like, you got to be kidding me, dude. Stop virtue signaling. God. In a weird way, you guys, a lot of you are going to say, Weber's turned into this anti-woke guy. No, I'm a merit guy. End of discussion. Merit guy. 300 comments. Good God, guys. Come on. 300 comments. Producer Nate, we got any super chats? Anything Elemental? Anything you want to do real quick until you get to one? And I'll do a couple comments at the end. Super chats get in before we roll out of here on this Sunday. Little Mermaid's at 500 million. So I want to do this. It's a big story. So let's do it here. Little Mermaid, 500 million worldwide right now. That is not profitable for Disney. It's a $250 million budget. We talked about roughly a 3x on the budget to get to profitability. So that means we need to be at about 750. Let's just be kind here and bring it to 700. We're at 500. It's not going to go too much further. Maybe it goes to 550. That means on best case scenario here, you're looking at a loss for Disney at $150 million on The Little Mermaid. We defended the film, so don't come in here saying you're trashing the film because you hate it. No, we're one of the few that said it generally works, and it's certainly not nearly as terrible as a lot of people out there are saying it is. But From a money loss standpoint, $150 million is a lot of cash. And it gets back to what we've talked about over and over, and a lot of people don't want to discuss. Disney is being hit in the marketplace by a segment of the population that is not thrilled with some of the politics that is being shown by Disney. We're not commenting on that. I told you it's merit for me, but I'm not going to talk about the fact that in The Little Mermaid, she doesn't look like the cartoon. Don't give a shit. She's good. Halle's good in the film, great voice, no problem. It doesn't bring the film down. I'm sorry. I know I'm right on that. But there are people out there that didn't want to support it for that reason. So as we get ready to roll into this week with Indiana Jones and the Dial of Mediocrity, watch out because it's a Disney film. And I'm telling you, it is there. Anyone who does not recognize it by this point doesn't know what they're doing. It's legit. So watch out, Indy. It could get really nasty this coming weekend. We'll discuss that coming up on Thursday. I want to talk about what's coming up here for the week before we roll out of here. We're going to have a stream back here on Tuesday night. Why? Because I'm going to see, at least I believe I am, because it's not a Warner Brothers movie, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 on Tuesday night. Now, it's going to be a late screening for me out here, 7 o'clock, which means it's 2 hours and like 30, 45 minutes. That means the stream will not be on Tuesday until roughly 1 a.m. Eastern, 10 o'clock Pacific, and it's only going to be a stream about Dead Reckoning. My thoughts, the 3 key takeaways. Is this film going to be a smash, or is it going to be somewhere in between? Because it's not going to be a bomb. We know that. There's no chance that no matter what I think of the film, because I know it's not unwatchable, right? No matter what I think of MI7, it's not going to bomb. So the question becomes, how big is it going to be? And after I see it, I can tell you using my A+ evaluation skills to look at the magic eye and look at the film through all the different prisms and figure out what works, what doesn't, and then most importantly, will it sell a shit ton of tickets? So Tuesday night, back here, live from LA. Any more super chats, producer Nate. Otherwise, we've done an hour. And honestly, it takes a lot of energy to do this thing. Anything that's like a general thing, we roll out of here. Otherwise, I think we're going to roll. I think that's it. Guys, I want to say this as we get ready to get out of here on this Sunday night. Thank you for being here. I know you have trust me, how many choices? 1 billion choices. Okay. But I think that what we bring to the table is an evaluation, skill, and an objectivity about Hollywood and certainly about film that you're not going to find many other places. And I hope you feel the same way. And I thank you for being here. That's going to do it. Live from LA. Midnight Movie Talk saying good night. See you Tuesday night for Mission Impossible 7 Dead Reckoning Part 1 of 2. Good night. Seltzer time,